Hi guys, it's Chris Turton here from christurtoneCommerce.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about correcting a brand name on Amazon in 2023. I'm going to keep this quite short and brief. So we've seen a lot now on Amazon that there are a lot of brand names that have been created by third-party sellers, wholesalers, etc. And your brands are being affected quite heavily by this because of mistakes. So we see that we have the brand Greenleaf, which is the correct brand name, and then some third-party sellers come along and typed in the word Greenleaf gift because that's what's in the box, and then we've discovered that we can't then change the listing and we can't associate to Amazon that that brand belongs to our brands and our clients. So Amazon have been quite reluctant to change this under brand name policies, and we're going to try and show you how to get around that issue. So we find that a lot of the time this can also involve a lot of hijacking around GS1 barcodes, listings, etc. Because a brand name's not being put into place correctly. So we're going to talk about how we get around that and how we build a good structure and a good evidence-based case structure for brand or seller supports. We get a lot of faults developing from this in terms of ASINs that have been created. So third-party sellers, retailers, wholesalers have just gone on, they've made their own listings, they've jumped the gun early, got some barcodes from you as a client, typed in the brand, they've mistyped the brand. It can be quite a big mistype, not just a comma or put some punctuation, but a whole word, and that's when the issues become more difficult, or even they've just used their own brand name altogether. It becomes quite a difficult process to get that changed. And obviously Amazon seller support will come back to you because this is a seller support issue rather than a brand support issue because it's to do with the catalogue. So you'll still obviously need to discuss this with brand registry, but they'll probably push you back on seller support because of how it impacts on the ASINs in the catalogue. We get a lot of contribution by other brand owner issues, so Amazon will come back and say this is owned by another brand owner, or it could even be from Amazon vendor on their retail platform. That becomes quite a difficult issue. If they've got, if someone else got a trademark for the same name as you, but in a different class, that has happened before. That becomes a bit more of an issue. Amazon will quote their brand policy, which we'll go through in a second. There can be a misunderstanding by Amazon seller support, of course, because of their training and lack of knowledge about IP, intellectual property rules, and Amazon brand registry, etc. There are hundreds of different reasons why that can change, and Amazon can throw all sorts at you, as you probably know from your experience in the past with seller support. So we're going to try and not dwindle too much on what those are and try and work out a structure to get you past that issue with the brand, your brand name issues in 2023. So the brand name policy suggests that they can change typos, capitalizations, pronunciations, etc. But they're very keen, if we look at it closer detail, they will only change minor corrections, as you can see there on that paragraph halfway down. So that beyond minor corrections, they'll be considered rebranding and will not be supported. However, we're not asking for a brand name change request, we're asking for a fix. We're asking for a brand name to be fixed, and that therefore improves the catalogue and the customer experience, and that's what we argue, because a lot of the time seller support will come back and quote this section of the policy. And it's quite important. I mean, it's not just a typo. When we look at the Greenleaf gifts issue, that is a huge issue because that is not what could be put in that top category as being a typo, but we know the brand name is wrong, and therefore our client, the brand, doesn't have any control over it. So you've got to make sure you've got the prerequisites in place, and make sure you've got the brand registry correct with the correct administration processes in place, and you're using the same exact territory that you're working in. Obviously, if you're in the US, make sure you use US PTO. If you're in the UK, make sure you use the UK IPO. Make sure that you have GS1 as well connected with the right products. That will also help you with any hijacked ASINs, because you can prove that in evidential form and say, look, we've got evidence of this ASIN. This is the GS1 that's connected to it. You already have it connected to our brand. Make sure that is very clear again, screenshots, bullet points, etc. Make sure you're using photographs of the product as well with your brand name and logo and the GS1 barcode. Do not use renders from Photoshop. Do not use stickers. Make sure you've got something that's solid in place. You might need to create some packaging if you're not using packaging typically, but make sure that you have evidence that that GS1 belongs to you and belongs to your brand. The biggest thing I can tell you is to provide solid evidence into your case, and we know that cases will come back and forth with seller support, but you need to keep it solid. Reference other active ASINs within your brand, like I said, where the brand name is correct and you've got the correct GS1s, because that gives you further structure and further evidence of that. Keep your case short, don't waffle on, keep it in bullet pointed form, and provide very clear screenshots, reference exactly what they are. Quote Amazon brand policy back to them. So as we said, all you're trying to do is fix the catalog, create a better customer experience, make sure that you're not asking to make a change to a brand name, you're trying to fix a brand name. Try and keep that really clear, and don't give up. Ask for the case to be escalated to a senior case manager. That can sometimes help, and remember, sometimes this can take 10, 15, 20 cases before it gets done because of the way that policies are. Once you've got it in place and you've got a case that's worked for you, remember you can only have 5 ASINs as a max, really. Otherwise, Amazon will start to go, we can't fix this. If you've got a lot of ASINs need fixing, put the 5 in one case. Make sure that if that case is successful, use that as additional evidence for your next 5, because they'll come back to you and say, we can't do this, and say, well, hang on, you've done it on this case, here's proof, why can't you do it on this case? Put them on the back foot with it. That's a really strong proposition for seller support. And remember to, once you've got those brand names in place and they're corrected, remember to use the brand name drop down manually under the edit section of your product pages to make sure they're locked into your Seller Central account, and you've got access to the A+ and stores. If you're having additional issues with retail contributions, as Amazon call it, where it's coming from Amazon vendor, that can be more complex. Don't give up, still push for it. It's your brand, it's your case. If you do have your products within Vendor Central will take additional a level of administration. Therefore, you probably need to administer your ASINs and edit them from Amazon vendor. Okay, so keep solid evidence, make it very clear, push them as far as you can. You can change your brand name, but make sure you're doing it within what the very loose definition of Amazon policy is, and make sure that it's clear to them and work solidly. If you want to learn more, come to christurtonecommerce.com. I have a whole section about brand name policy changes and things that you can look at on our blog, and let me know any comments below. Thank you. Bye.